All right, you're welcome back. Quite a lot to look at in the papers this morning, but we're going to be as brief as we can. Our guest is in the studio. Dotun Ojon is a leadership expert. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Good morning. Yes, happy Monday.
I hope you had a great weekend and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, fantastic. We'll begin with a punch, and there's this unfortunate incident that we really have to start with. A tragic story of 9 youth corps members drowning in Taraba River. They went on a simple picnic.
Yeah.
22 of them.
It's really a sad one because ideally the idea of this NYSC, apart from uniting the people and integrating the nation, is also for you to have an idea of how things work at the other side of the nation. So what they've done is not wrong. They did the right thing of at least wanting to know everything about the environment as possible as it is. But again, it shows that, you know, this thing happened in Lagos, and I got an interview on it. We need to be very careful about our waterways. I have been using the waterway for over 30 years. So I can tell you that when it comes to safety, we are not taking it as seriously as we should take it. Because incidents like these do not happen so often, so we just neglect that.
But unfortunately, this was not a boat ride. Exactly. It was they went swimming and the tides changed. Unfortunately, they could not. Of the
yes,
water.
It's a sudden. You know, ideally, you're supposed to, even in all the beaches around, you're supposed to have somebody there. Ideally, who's supposed to tell you that at this point in time, this is how the tides would be.
Yeah.
You understand? Unfortunately,
really sad.
We do not have.
Okay, and well, let's come to politics now. Kaduna APC defies Oshomole over Sani, that's Shehu Sani, the Kaduna senator. Kano deputy governor resigns. Defection, Akpabio meets Buhari in London, and our APC reps group alleged plot to bribe lawmakers to remove Saraki and Dogara.
Where do we start from?
Let's begin from the APC defying Oshomole.
Okay, APC. Yeah. When the National Working Committee came out, was it last week, to say that we are no longer, or we are not in support of the suspension, or the suspension has been lifted, I was very happy. I put it on the social media that this is exactly the spirit I want in the APC, at least the spirit of trying to unite the party. Unfortunately, now we are having another group of people who are actually questioning the constitutional power of the National Working Committee to reinstate somebody that was actually suspended at the local level. To a certain extent, they are right. But if you look at the reality of the moment of trying to unite the party, then you are asking yourself, what exactly does the party want to achieve?
Dotun, I was about to ask you that, because we understand that politics is at the grassroots. That's where you build from ground up.
It is local.
Exactly. So then, you already said that the local APC isn't wrong on this matter. But what should the NWC have done differently?
What they should have done is very simple. They should have gone back to the people in the grassroots, perhaps through the state ESCO. Instead of passing directive through the state ESCO, they should have consulted the local authority through the state ESCO. And this is the big picture of what will happen. Neither we like it or not now, a crisis is brewing between the governor and the leadership of APC. Because either we like it or not, the ESCO in Kaduna State, as we speak, are loyal to the governor. So at the end of the day, if care is not taken, there's going to be a serious crisis between the governor and the leadership of APC.
All right, moving on very quickly. There's still other stories. Nothing will make me abandon clamor for better Nigeria. That's former President Olusegun Obasanjo speaking there. Igbo interested in restructuring North Presidency, Ohaneze and IPOB are saying Lagos Ibadan Rail FG to deploy 16 locomotives, 40 coaches and others. And hear this one. Housewife stabs husband to death over a telephone call.
All right, we'll go to the next paper now, which is The Nation. Major story. Akpabio meets Buhari in UK ahead defection to APC with 2 riders. My meeting with President by Senator is trying to give reasons for the meeting. And the presidency, we are set to receive him. In fact, the gale of speculation is now over. It has become quite clear that this man could defect on Wednesday.
You know, I saw something during the week, and they call it, I think from one of us here in TVC, they call it electronic washing machine. That once anybody passes through that machine to the other side, that the person will become
clean.
You understand? So everybody wants to be clean, no matter how dirty you are, no matter how in the past years, whether you have been in corruption or not.
But is it about
Well,
that?
again,
Is it
again,
just
that is why
politics?
they're
The likes of
defecting.
Saraki defected to the PDP.
Again, it's part of politics. At the end of the day, you ask yourself, what am I going to gain at the end of the day? The former governor and the minority leader, I see him as being wise. Because if you look at his own governor, he was the man that backed this man to be governor.
And now they're
And
enemies.
they fell out roughly about 66 days into government in 2015.
Same case in Kano.
Yes, if you look at the body language of the governor, Emmanuel Ojon,
Yes.
he is not totally against the government at the center. He has not been speaking against them. So there's a possibility that what happened in Benue might happen. The governor might defect to APC if he discovers that he will not get a second-time ticket in PDP. So everybody is just trying to outsmart the other one. So I'm thinking
Well, reports say that
the former governor is actually reasoning that before this man will move to this place, let me quickly move.
Well, we're hearing now that Emmanuel Udom himself is a bit jittery with planned Akpabio's defection. But we'll see how we'll just see how that pans out.
Okay, so let's just look at some other stories here. Resign now, Falana tells Saraki others, saying that they're supposed to, after defecting to another party, they're supposed to go back to their different, constituency to seek new mandates since they were voted on the platform of a totally different political party.
Yes, supposed. They're supposed to do that.
Supposed,
yes.
exactly.
I love the word supposed. Because this has been happening. We have seen cases of people just defecting from one political party. And this is a constitutional matter. You can't come in through a political party, defect to another, and retain your seat under that political
remember
party.
that
but the same lawyers will tell you
if there's a crisis in the party.
Yeah.
So we are in a time of suppose. Things are not working the way they should work. Because it has come to a time where people deliberately cause crisis within their political party.
Just to have a reason.
Just to have a reason.
But then again,
But
some legal luminaries, lawyers themselves will tell you there is no law that says that if a person jumps from one party to the other, he should relinquish his position.
Once you are not, see as we are today, there's no opportunity for independent candidacy. And once you come to parliament, I'm trying to remember a place that says it in the constitution, under a political platform. Once you leave that platform, you're supposed to leave the seat.
Okay.
But again, I doubt whether these people, I really doubt whether we were this outspoken, the people that are now saying, oh, you must resign, whether we were this outspoken
when it
in
happened before.
When it happened, in the case of Tambua, there were so many people were hailing, and because at that point in time, it favored APC.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just run through the remaining stories. EFCC likely to quiz Ekwere Madu's wife. That's that story on NYC core members that died. 9 NYC members drowned in Taraba. Roa pleased with Musa's move to Al Nasser. Troops arrest wanted Boko Haram suspect. Those are the stories there.
And to the New Telegraph now, APC luring senators with 15 million naira to sack Saraki, and that's according to our APC. NNPC, we're not funding plot. PDP, APC inviting trouble, and the APC will want Saraki out through legitimate means. And the federal government says, well, House Senate President frustrated Buhari's government. Okay, so there's this talk about plans to, since, according to some reports, the legal means of removing Saraki is no longer on the table. Now, cash may do it.
Yes.
Okay.
So. Suddenly money has become our master, because if you trace it to the last 2 elections that we have had, even in Southwest, you discover that money actually played a significant role. And I will not, it's an allegation that I would not like to just wish away, because this is not the first time this will happen. It has, I think since 2002, money has been prominent in the National Assembly whenever the executive wants to get something done, even in the state legislature. So money has always been an issue, but again,
okay. Yes, we have less than 5 minutes to
again.
go on the paper review. I resigned because Ganduje humiliated me. That's a Kano deputy governor who resigned recently. Obasanjo, Nigeria deserves better leader than Buhari. Obasanjo has not stopped talking about his position about this government. Let's move away from politics. Dangote refinery to save Nigeria $7.5 billion import? You're not interested in that?
I am not. I am
Okay.
not, because
Okay.
one of the things I talked about the strength of the president, and I talked about some of his obvious weaknesses. But again, one of his strong points, why I supported him, was the fact that I was looking at the possibility of having a new oil sector, because he has experience in there. Yeah. Not that we will now have a president who has a deep experience in the sector, who will now be relying on the private sector to bail us out of this crisis. Okay. When we want to rely on private sector, it should not be on matter of life. These are the same set of people that were importing generator, were the same set of people we sold our power this thing to. How are they going to make it work?
And then they're enjoying
allegedly.
monopoly. All right, let's move on.
Let's
move on. Daily Trust, page your story. Pressure mounts on Saraki to reconvene National Assembly, especially on the budget for the election, the conduct of the 2019 general election.
Yes. I think I tried to look at it really. I discovered that that break will have been too unnecessary, if not because of politics. That recess that the National Assembly, the Senate went on, will have been too unnecessary. If really we are looking at the interests of the nation and taking it as seriously as we should, the Senate president obviously knew that he was going to defect. It was not an overnight decision. So that recess they went on was as a result of the fact that they actually needed to buy time and be able to connect with more people.
So it's a politically motivated recess.
It is.
Okay, let's leave that point. Okay. Moving on very quickly.
Let's move on. IPOB gives conditions for peace. IPOB says that it will, of course, embrace peace, but if the group first off becomes deprescribed, compensation is given and all that.
I don't know. It's a strategy. Many of us that studied a bit of strategy will tell you that from the beginning, they were not strategic enough. There's a way you want to... What are you bringing to the table? Okay. The Niger Delta people, when they were coming on board, they brought something to the table that, we control at least the resources of the nation. That was on the table. In the first thing, you need to define what are you bringing on the table. It's not just by fighting on the road.
In
People
essence,
will not pay attention
to you. Negotiate from the position of strength.
Of strength. Not that you don't have anything you are bringing to the table. All you are doing is to make noise. At the end of the day, they will just see you as mess.
All right. Woman stabs husband to death. Very sad. Down here, Borno candidate emerges UTME top scorer. 9 core members drowned in Taraba, and then we broke her. Yeah, that's just...
Can we quickly talk about that? Is it Borno or...
Borno, yes. Borno candidate emerges UTME top scorer.
That is great. It shows that...
despite all the
crisis.
Either we like it or not, the human brain is the same, whether you are in Lagos or you are in Borno. And one of the gifts that God gave to human being is the brain, with about 280 billion neurons and over 1 trillion connections here and there. A human being is supposed to, has the capacity to do anything. Absolutely. But whether you develop that capacity
is another matter, and the environment that we find ourselves in even makes that
the soil also matters to the plant.
Yeah, it's just like clay, you mold it to.
It does, and to think that even the greatest of all geniuses, the Albert Einsteins of this world, according to expert reports, didn't use up to 5% of the capacity of their brains. It's amazing.
And that brings me to the fact that everybody is actually considered a genius, because if you look at it very carefully, the word is from a Latin word which means guardian spirit. It shows that at birth we have a bit of it in ourselves, and these environmental factors, our house and everything around us can decide to just take just.
Let's move on.
To the point now. 2019 polls under threat. Why general elections may not hold in February? Well, according to INEC, no cause for alarm. Re-echoing, of course, what the INEC chairman told us right here on the show, that 2019 election will be the best election so far, and yet you have this funding challenge.
You know why I'm not totally alarmed about the funding? If it had happened to another agency of government, I would have been so worried, because there are 2 processes and people are not saying it. If the National Assembly decide to append their whatever signature today and passes through it to the executive, that's a second stage. At the Federal Executive Council meeting, they will approve memo, and ministers will not have access to fund. That's the second stage. People don't get to know. But I believe now that since we know that election is so important, that's about the most important thing we are talking about
right now.
Maybe regardless of the political party you belong to, you just have to.
Okay, hopefully it will. And Madumere's impeachment, Okorocha has betrayed us. Imo lawmakers are saying there. And well, according to the governor's spokesman, the governor acted in the state's interest. All right, my late wife's pastor used our dead baby's placenta for rituals. Man alleges. You know, when you read the stories, it just makes you really wonder how do you connect a ritual with making money, with prospering? Well, that's a question that we have to leave.
With pastors and
but
again, I think before we continue to heap blames on some of these people, we Nigerians, many of us prefer babalawos. We want to go to them, but we just want babalawo in jacket. We don't want the traditional one. There's no how, in psychology, there's no how a person will be using your head without you having an idea that this person is up to something.
Okay.
But because you prefer a well-dressed babalawo, that's why you still run to him in the name of a pastor.
When you seed your thinking to another person. All right, thank you very much.
Well-dressed babalawo.
Dotun Ojon. Well, that wraps up the newspaper review segment of the show.